In 1919, he hit 29 home runs and was sold to the New York Yankees.
A three-run home run for Buffington. The Yankees now lead it by a score of 3-2.
Bill Lee is now going over to a couple of the Yankees, and there they go again.
Hits it to deep left. That might send the Yankees to the World Series.
Varitek and A-Rod going at it. Roberts is going. Posada's throw. Roberts safe.
What can I say? Just tip my hat and call the Yankees my daddies.
Welcome to Fanbase, a deep dive into the greatest rivalry in sports, post-World Series edition, episode 223. My friend John Senecal, myself, Brian Shackman. Listen, Saturday night, my son had a football game under the lights, and we came straight home after the game, put the TV on, and watched the rest of Game 7. And then we watched a crappy SNL, and we can talk about that too if you want to. But I'll just give you, I'll throw it out, my quick hot take here, and then you will go from there. Is it obviously tremendously exciting? I wanted Toronto to win, even though I don't like the Blue Jays. But I have to say, they had every chance to win that series. Like they had, if you go back to the previous game, I think they had like 2 men on with no outs and got nothing out of it. And even last night, I mean, on Saturday night, they had multiple chances where they actually just kind of like got brain freezes.
Oh, we joked. We called it Yankees baseball is what we called it. Bases loaded, can't score. Second and third, can't score. Runner on third, one out, can't score. Like
I was like, part of me was like, you should have bunted, but you had Vlad on third.
Yeah.
What if you did some sort of squeeze? You could win it on a safety squeeze.
Yeah.
You can't turn two on a bunt. No, in my opinion.
You can point to all you want. Like they had their opportunities. John Snyder himself said it, but you got to tip your hat to the Dodgers, dude. I mean, as much as you can say all you want about them spending $1 zillion for that team, when it comes down to it, look who won the game for them. Yeah, you can say all you want about Yamamoto, but without Miguel Rojas, who's a lifer in baseball, who's last year, and then Andy Pages in the outfield.
Yeah.
Like,
how about him, Kelly leaking that kid?
Yeah. Well, think about it. Think about Kiki Hernandez is playing left, right? And he always rises to the occasion. But I don't care who you are.
He was going to miss that.
He was going to miss that ball.
Absolutely.
There's probably only a few of baseball players, outfielders. I'm saying outfielders, not just utility players like Kiki. Right. In the history of baseball that make that play.
Right. Willie Mays.
Right. That make that play. Right. And so Pages has the angle on that ball, and Pages is. Again, crazy. Like I said, Dodgers have to get something to win this. Is inserted in the middle of at bat, not in the middle of an inning, in the middle of freaking at bat.
He literally knocked over his teammate to catch the ball.
And think about that. If you look at that play, Brian, how far he ran to catch a ball. Now that ball was really high in the air, but as soon as that ball was hit, I looked at my son. I said, "Game over." That's it. It's done. And he ran because they were playing shallow.
Yeah.
The outfield was in, and he ran. I would love to see the metrics on it. I don't even think they even showed it. Had to be at least over 100 feet for that.
But
ball.
to have, to me, especially Kike, even though he's not an all-star, he's like an everyday. He's had a great career.
He's going to play. He plays every position though.
But this guy who's like, he was confident enough to literally knock him out of his way.
Oh, he locked in on that ball like you wouldn't believe. It was like, it almost looked like a video game. It was weird. It was like the dot was on that spot. And he just went, boom, right to it.
It was a crazy, crazy play. So, I mean, I think that, and I felt bad. I mean, again, like people are trying to make it political. Like a lot of people were rooting for the Dodgers because it was like, yay, America thing. Like, first of all, I love Canada. I have great friends. I've been going there since I was a kid playing hockey, and I think it would have been good for the game for them to win. Yeah. I really, really do. Just the way I felt about, I wanted Seattle and Milwaukee in the World Series. That's what I wanted. So I truly felt bad for their fans. At the same time, they got what they deserved because they didn't do the things they needed to do in the clutch to win.
Yeah, it sucks. It sucks for the Canada as a nation because obviously they rallied behind the team. The team was exciting. It sucks for Donnie Baseball. We all wanted him. Yeah. I know I did. I mean,
you don't say we all. I mean, he's had a fine life. If he didn't win it, it doesn't hurt my life.
It doesn't hurt you, but I mean, for someone like myself, who that was like my idol growing up,
sure.
like that was a big deal for me to see him win. And obviously, hopefully, maybe he'll wind up with the Yankees next year. You never know. But that being said, you can say all you want about the Dodgers winning the World Series. It's not the best thing for baseball because you can say it's an evil empire too, but I think it was the Blue Jays announcer went on and said the better team lost. Well, you know what? Yeah, the better team does lose sometimes, but if you take Miguel Rojas out of that equation, like the Dodgers don't win that game. They don't win either of those games. The pick that he made in Game 6 at second base is another play that is so hard to make. It's insane to make. And to think about that dude was their shortstop last year on and off, and he got replaced by a right fielder to become the shortstop, and then he didn't even play until Game 6. He was on the bench for the first 5 games of this series.
Crazy.
And he comes in. And I'm going to tell you another interesting fact about Miguel Rojas, right? And I heard this morning. He only hits sliders. Like legit only hits sliders. That's the only thing the dude can hit. He bats like slugs like 500, bats over 400 on a slider. What do you think the pitch was that he hit for that home run?
Slider.
A slider. And what is that, if you want to dig even deeper into it, what does that tell you about instincts in baseball? Over prepare for the superstars. This guy comes in out of nowhere.
So you're saying that
Game
they didn't
6,
even have that data?
I'm saying that. I'm saying
Yeah.
that they're not prepared for that. You can dig all you want with the geeks, but if you're not prepared for every single aspect of the game, it will come back and bite you. Like that, the game is just too fast, and it's baseball is so freaking complicated. It's
People don't
insane.
say fast. It's fast. You need to make a lot of big decisions in a short amount of time. The game itself isn't fast.
Isn't fast, but how quick it comes at you now, especially even with the pitch clock. I mean, there was a big debate about the amount of time Ohtani was getting on the mound, like
Yeah.
right. But getting back to like the speed of the game, like that's the stuff that like you if you don't plan for it, it's gonna kill you.
Yeah.
Because at the time you can't stop the game and be like, hey, this dude only hits sliders. Like you have not looked that up. That is something.
No,
that
because
you
they would have thrown fastball if
Exactly.
they had known. He's John Senecal. I'm Brian Shackman. This is episode 223 of Fanbase, a deep dive into the greatest rivalry in sports. But taking just a gander from 30,000 feet for a second, in our morning show on WTIC News Talk 1080, Matt Sorois, who produces both, and I were talking after Game 3, after the 18-inning win by the Dodgers, that the Blue Jays were done. Like, in my opinion, you can't come back from that. I was like, how do you're now down 2-1 with 2 more games in LA after being up for a gajillion hours, and you don't have the depth of the other team. And so then they come back and they win games 4 and 5. They don't just win them. They win them like almost like in very, very orderly fashion.
Right.
And so then they go home with 2 games to win 1.
Right. Nobody expected them to lose.
And they lose them both. And, in Game 6, to remind people, they had they had 2 men on with no outs. I don't know if it was second and third or first
Second and third.
Yeah. And that's when they switched the pitchers. The first ball swung and it'll pop out to the infield, and then the Kike double play.
And you say first ball, and that's important, right, Brian? Because that's not their game. Like, they don't swing at pitches out of the zone first. That's like I believe it was Ernie Clement who set a record for the most hits in a postseason with over 30 or 32 or something. Swinging at a first pitch, yeah, you're looking for a first pitch fastball, but that ball was up out of the zone, so not characteristic. Again, baseball, game of inches, those are the defining moments. The ball hit into the fence in the outfield in Game 6. If that ball doesn't get lodged in the fence, the game's over.
Yeah.
The Blue Jays are the World Series champions. That changes everything. That's what I talked about. Something has to go right for the Dodgers, and that's baseball.
Yeah.
Literally, that is the stuff that happens in baseball.
So true. And then you lose Game 6 and Game 7. I mean, it was wild how you're right about the people who you didn't expect it came through for the Dodgers. But I don't know. I don't follow Yamamoto, a ton. I don't know a lot about.
Well, look what he did, right? He pitches a complete game in Game 2, right?
Yeah.
Warms up in the 18-inning game, is warming up, coming out to be ready, comes out and pitches 96 pitches in Game 6, right? And then comes back in Game 7 and throws 36 pitches, 2 2/3 innings, and gets the win in both games. Now, you can say that, it's a difference. He's different, right? Because this is what the Japanese pitchers are trained to do.
So it's so interesting you bring it up because, we treat arms today so delicately. And there's 2 things at play. One is these kids are throwing more when they're younger because they're playing so much summer ball. So there's more throwing there. But I remember reading something when I think it was Ichiro and his routine. And someone was telling me that part of the Japanese culture, long toss is a huge part of their culture. Like they just play tons of long toss.
And their pitchers, I believe, like throw every day.
So this is such an interesting argument for maybe we're not handling it. Maybe the delicate thing is not the right thing. Listen, pitching's a violent act. If you see the slow-mos of this stuff, the human body's not meant to throw 100 miles an hour. It creates a torque and a tension in places it shouldn't be.
It gives you the skeevies when you see it.
It's
slow
gross.
motion.
Yeah, with the way the elbow's ahead of the it's
gross.
And so like there's something unnatural about what they're doing, but you're so right because the obviously the way they train and develop their pitchers in Japan is better than what we do.
You also have to take into account how this is changing Major League Baseball. Look at the shift that you've seen just in the last 5 years of how starters are going less and less. Now you're going into games literally knowing that your starter is not going to go. Like you're telling almost like, yeah, you're going to throw 2 innings, you're going to throw 2 innings, you're going to throw 2 innings. If you look at Game 7, there was no relief pitcher other than Warbolewski that threw in that. Everybody else was a starter for the Dodgers that threw in that game. And that just goes to show you that 10 years ago, that would be unheard of in the postseason in Major League Baseball. I don't care who you're talking
about.
What's
your takeaway point? Because I have something
the takeaway point is that you're doing every single possible thing you can win, and that's how and I almost feel like that's how teams should be approaching the whole season. Like it's almost like you're only using all your resources to its full capability when it only matters, right? And if anything's shown you throughout the history of this season alone, every game matters.
You know, it's so interesting because the big thing about baseball, it's not just about protecting arms, it's about the research of the game. I was sort of always told that, listen, you don't want a pitcher out there the third time through because they'll figure something out that day and they'll figure out what you're doing wrong or whatever you're tipping, and then you don't want to be there for that third time through. And so that's part of the reason why you do it. Maybe the model in 40, 50 years is like you have like 8 or 9 starters and you have 2 or 3 available for every game.
That's how you're not throwing 5-inning guys. You're just literally coming out there 2 innings, 2 innings.
Well, that's my point.
Yeah,
is that you have 3. Well, I'll just restate it for you. Like maybe you have 8 or 9 starters in total, and you have 2 or 3 available for every game, so that you pitch one every 3 innings, and then you have your closer. So
it makes sense.
Relievers aren't relievers as much as they are the number 2, the number 3 starter that day, so that they see different looks every time through, and you can go a knuckleballer to 100-mile-an-hour guy to whatever.
And this is something like now showing that this could be a shift in Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
Like, when was the last time you saw this? Like, I remember when Randy Johnson and Curt Schilling pitched against the Yankees in 2001, and everyone was like, oh my God, Randy Johnson's coming out of the bullpen. He pitched 2 days ago, and they're freaking out. And Madison Bumgarner, I believe, did it in 2014.
We used to make a big deal out of 3 days rest.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, insane. And now, like, you got a guy who just threw a complete game shutout. Like, I'm ready to go. It's like it's pretty impressive. And you can say what you want about the Dodgers building their whole thing, but every single player on that team in that 7-game series contributed somehow. It's nuts.
Even Mookie, who had a terrible playoffs.
And he sat there and he got his big hit. The one thing that he needed to do, and he did it.
Is that Game 6?
He got the two RBI single, and then Freddie Freeman got a hit. Like, everybody contributed. Will Smith, the whole damn lineup got involved.
I just don't like them.
I don't like them, but you know what? They did what they needed to do, and hats off to Dave Roberts. I mean, you got a ton of stars, but he pushed the damn buttons right.
And they're so hard on him in LA, as if he doesn't know what he's doing. I just I think between his legacy on the Red Sox and then winning these World Series, I think it's gone to his head a little bit. I think he's gotten kind of cocky, or maybe he always was, but at the same time, it's still hard to manage, even if you have $300 million payroll. You still got to manage. And in some ways it's more difficult. But, he's lucky. He's got good dudes in that clubhouse. I mean, Freeman, Mookie, you just mentioned him. You don't get better teammates than those two guys.
Well, think about it. You got Shohei, Hall of Famer. Freddie, Hall of Famer. Mookie, Hall of Famer. Kershaw, Hall of Famer. There's 4 Hall of Famers right there. Will Smith, probably, if he keeps playing, will be a Hall of Famer. That's 5.
Really? You think just because he's won that many times?
Well, yeah, but he's good, dude. His numbers are good. Will Smith is really good.
Well, listen, he caught more innings in a World Series than anyone who has ever walked the earth.
And then you look at the Japanese players who, are coming over. Like, if they keep on their trajectory, I mean, you could be looking at possibly 7 to 8 Hall of Famers on this World Series team. Real quick, let's go down a couple other things about this 7-game World Series, all right? First time pinch hit grand slam in World Series history, Addison Barger. 2 extra inning games, 18-inning game, Game 3, and 11 innings in Game 7. 2 extra inning homers, Freddie Freeman and Will Smith.
Yeah.
First time that's ever happened. Walk-off homer, Freeman. That's happened before, but that happened in this. A 7-4 double play to end a game, Game 6.
Yep.
That's never happened. And then a double play in Game 7 to end the game, back-to-back. That's never happened. And a World Series, back-to-back. Complete game, Yamamoto. That's not a first, obviously, but that's something that
Doesn't happen very often anymore.
Very impressive, yep. First 12 strikeout performance and 0 walk game in World Series history, Trey Savage, who's another bright, shining star, but you never know. He's a rookie, right? And like through the minor leagues in one season, we'll see how that pans out. Let's see. In a game-tying 9th-inning home run that flipped the World Series history is Rojas. I mean, that's a huge – I mean, you think about it, that's like Bucky Dent material, right? Like Bill Mazeroski material, Joe Carter material.
Unfortunately, it's the era doesn't have that kind of feel.
Right.
Even the Kirk Gibson home run in '88 was in Game 1, but it still feels bigger than anything we saw in the last
It's
2
crazy
weeks.
because it didn't technically win them the World Series, but
No.
without that home run, and without him, and we haven't even talked about the play he made in bases loaded throwing home, which is amazing.
I do want to. The thing about that one, you talk about the game of inches. Like it was a Kiner Falefa was coming home from third, and someone said that if he had taken 6 more inches in his lead, because the guy's foot did come off the home plate, and he just didn't get in time.
Not just that, Brian. What if he ran through home plate? He didn't need to slide at home. That's not a tag play. You were going as fast like you're going through
right,
first.
You slow yourself down, slide it.
Baseball
is,
and remember, he's inserted into that game for Bo Bichette. He might not even, he's not totally fresh, And again, think about it. Bo Bichette's healthy. He's in the game with fresh legs. You're not even worrying about that situation. That's a whole other thing we didn't even talk about baseball as far as all the crap John Snyder had to deal with Bo Bichette, because you can't take him out of the lineup. Best hitter in baseball, really.
Yeah.
Top 3. So again, like navigating that, and when you lost him and brought Kiner Falefa, who's a great player, but oh my God, talk about inches. You're literally inches.
Yeah, and then Rojas Bob. I mean, again, like we came into it. I didn't watch it from the first inning because I don't know if I came in the 7th or whatever inning it was.
Yeah,
and it was really fun for us, just to get personal for a second, because our whole family
Exciting.
sat down and watched it, and we never do that. And it was late Saturday night, but even my son Max, who always goes to bed early, we watched the World Series when neither team had anything to do with us. And so I know the ratings were the best in about 8 years, and it makes a lot of sense. And if you factor in the ratings in Japan and Canada, more people probably watch this World Series than anything in the last couple decades. And so even though I think there's a lot wrong with baseball, and I'm not a Manfred fan, I think that you have to look at this season as an incredibly successful season in Major League Baseball.
Oh, absolutely. The season was insanely exciting. And this World Series, like you said, people were watching because it built up, right? It built itself up. From the 18-inning games to the Yamamotos to this and that. And it was
and then the 7th game actually lived up to its
billing. And what's better than Game 7? Somebody's going to win, someone's going to lose. And real quick about the family thing, we're watching the game too, but it was, just me, my son, and my wife. And when Rojas hit the home run, we literally, my son and I just looked at each other and we just gave each other a look like of course he did.
Yep.
Like we just gave each other that look like Dodgers. Of course he did. It's baseball.
Yeah, the new dynasty. What a great season, John. You've done a great job as always. We look forward to the off season, which we're going to make sure we have guests and we have some dynamic stuff. I mean, the goal here is not to be one of a million hot takes in a world of hot takes, is to try to add value where maybe you're not getting the exact kind of conversation.
Oh, let's also mention real quick that Gold Gloves were announced and 2 Red Sox.
Yeah, Abreu and
Rafaela.
Yeah,
who's you know me, I'm a big fan of Ceddanne Rafaela. Great player. Almost try to compare him almost to Mookie with his talents. Probably never will live up to Mookie billing, but exceptional athlete.
Yeah, he just has to get a little more consistent at the plate, but he had moments at the plate this season. He did some things that were as exciting as anything you've seen at Fenway in a long, long time. And Abreu is just the kind of guy you root for, a real gritty. He's almost like a Latino Trot Nixon, but with more talent.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
And Max Fried got a Gold Glove. Of course, a pitcher for the Yankees gets the Gold Glove. Interesting that Mookie didn't win the Gold Glove. 7 errors at shortstop in the National League. And Mason Wynn from the Cardinals won it, who's I believe 23 or something.
The bottom line is Mookie's like one of the best athletes who ever walked the earth.
He's hard not to root for, I'll tell you.
He could switch to first base and win and be a finalist for a Gold Glove. It's hard not to root for him because as much money as he makes and as big ego might have, like he doesn't present as that.
No, and you never hear anything bad about him. And it's weird, like you never hear anything good about him almost. Like I don't say like good, but it's like he's not out there. There's nothing flashy about the dude, but when he shows up, you're like, damn, that guy's got everything together.
Yeah, he's so unassuming. But we appreciate the hard work, John. We'll get a not like a list, but we'll get our ducks in a row and start our offseason charge towards the hot
There'll be a lot to
stove
talk
eater.
about this offseason. Red Sox and Yankees have a lot of issues to talk about, and there's players leaving. No Bregman right now for the Red Sox, and there's going to be...
Could be no story. I mean, there's a lot of different things that can happen, and I think that you can judge both teams based on how they handle things because we know what they need.
Yeah.
And if they don't address the needs, then you know how serious they are about winning. And there's a lot of teams that, based on this season, whether it's Seattle or Toronto, is not going anywhere necessarily. Yeah. You got to leapfrog some teams.
And let's be honest, with the Red Sox expectations, you can say what you want. I mean, they overplayed, some will say, in 2025, but there's going to be big expectations for them going into 2026.
Absolutely. He's John Senecal. I'm Brian Shackman. You've been listening to Fanbase, a deep dive into the greatest rivalry in sports.